before I knew Christ, like, I went to church occasionally just to, like, hang out with people, but it was never really, like, I never felt any type of accountability to, like, not want God to be disappointed in me or anything, so I was just kind of going to chill. I pretty much spent, like, any time that I wasn't stuck in school smoking. That was pretty much, like, my regular activity. And then, other than that, I just skated a little bit, hung out with some people, and, I don't know, like, the situation I was in before I started going to church, I was just kind of, like, I was ridiculously depressed, but I also was, like, in a stage of trying to get rid of the depression by myself, so I started doing other drugs and stuff, started drinking a lot more, and whenever I realized that, like, it wasn't doing anything for me, I started to try and make it on my friends, make it like my friends' fault, make it seem like they weren't there enough and stuff like that. But eventually I kind of recognized that it was just what I was doing to myself, and not having a relationship with my dad kind of put a big damper on the way I thought about myself, because I always wanted someone to feel proud of me, and my mom always will, so that was something that, like, kind of, like, that never really helped. So it was just kind of a mixture of not wanting to stop doing drugs, but wanting my dad to be proud of who I was. And that's kind of when I guess hit the bottom. I didn't know what to do anymore. And one weekend at a concert, I got alcohol poisoning. I lost 17 pounds in 2 days in the hospital, and I don't know, it just kind of scared me. So I stopped drinking and smoking for a few days, and then I went back to it, and it was just really different. It didn't, like, I don't know, I didn't like it, I guess. And I was talking to this girl, Kendall, who asked me if I wanted to go to church to try and help me with my depression and stuff. So I tried it out, and the first service I went to, it kind of slapped me in the face. Like, everything that was talked about was, like, relevant to my life. So I just, like, that same night, I made the decision, like, I have to do this. This is my last resort. Like, I gotta get rid of this. And then whenever I started going to church regularly, like, the loneliness of not hanging out with the people I used to started to go away, because the people in the church were always there to, like, at least talk to, even if they couldn't hang out. And that progressively helped. And another thing was just having an inspiration that wasn't through music, because everybody I was inspired was some sort of famous musician that was just obsessed with themselves. It was nice to have someone that was a little less selfless and wouldn't mind doing things for other people. And that was Christ, obviously. That was somebody who I could always think about just to want to be like. And then I started getting involved a little more through the church and stuff like that, and everything just started getting better and better. I was saved February 6th, but it was probably about 2 weeks after that I really recognized, like, what it was to want to make God proud by stop sinning, and also to what it was to, like, love everybody and, like, not to judge one another based off of the things they like to do or whatever. Because, like, from my prior life, a lot of people, even people that say they follow Christ, would have just completely given up on trying to help me out or anything. But there were those few Christians that liked to, or tried to help me, tried to get me back on my feet. That kind of, like, honest, I did pretty well about 2 weeks after I was saved. It was probably during spring break whenever I really recognized that like my testimony kind of not was inspiring, but it was something that like helped some people and also made people want to think about like stop doing drugs and stuff, because it does just kind of rot your head. And also during spring break I thought a lot about what the younger kids thought of other leaders besides me, and that made me realize like once you become an inspiration, you kind of always are, even if it's not like for doing stuff that's right. It's always just, you still always are kind of looked up to. So it just made me think a lot about like what I was doing, what I should do and stuff. And it's kind of nice to be, I guess, held accountable for what I'm doing, because I never really was before. I was always just able to do whatever I wanted. So it just kind of, I don't know. It's probably not right that thinking about what other people think of me is what helps me stay straight, but right now, besides disappointing God, that's kind of how it is. The thing that I mostly think about, I guess, and I don't know if that's truly like my calling, but it's like what I've started to think about since I started following Christ, is just kind of like, I'm in no way like, am I like well off or anything, but I still know there are like thousands of people that are a lot like worse off than I am, and I feel like the only thing I can really do when I think about that is to just like go out and help them. So I guess kind of the thing that I guess God's pushing me to do is to just not be an activist, but like be someone who motivates people to help others instead of just thinking about their own lives and stuff.